Courtney, you're right. There is a chance that you may be right, that this is a lifestyle he enjoys. Mm-hmm. It's not what he would have chosen, Wiggs. As you point out, 4 months ago, he would have stayed coaching. Here is why I just will never believe he's done.
Mm-hmm.
He has a deep understanding. Maybe nobody that has ever lived has a better historical understanding of their place in the history of the NFL. He is as in tune with NFL films. He knows everything about it. He remembers Don Shula on Monday Night Football cheering against the Patriots in 2007, trying to protect his perfect Dolphin season. I believe he wants to surpass Shula. All of that. Now, for the Patriots, so I don't believe he's done. But, Courtney, you may be right. He may like this.
And you may be right.
Who knows? But I believe this year, Bill not coaching is the worst possible outcome for Robert Kraft and Jerod Mayo. Because if Bill went to the Falcons, right, that was what we all thought was going to happen.
Right.
The Falcons are a pretty bad team. I mean, maybe somewhat more talented than the Patriots, but mediocre at best.
Mm-hmm.
So while the Patriots might lose 27-13 week 1 to the Bengals, maybe Bill and the Falcons lose 35-21. And so you're not comparing Mayo against the brilliance of Bill. You're seeing, well, he's totally lost his fastball. He couldn't do it without Tom. That's just the continuation of that. Now, Bill's perfect. He gets to do what he's always been brilliant at, but he's always done it in front of his players, not the media. Break down other people's mistakes on film.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be doing that on Pat McAfee, while the Patriots, with Jacoby Brissett and Scott Van Pelt's brother, are stumbling down the field. We're only going to remember the good times of Bill, and we're going to see in real time, in living color, Bill break down the mistakes the Patriots and other teams make. So while it sucks for Robert to have to pay the money, obviously, it doubly sucks that you're not seeing Bill fail.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think Bill's going to hold himself back from criticizing players and coaching staffs and other franchises?
No, I think that he's going to – no, I think that he's just going to break down – I mean, maybe he will certain teams. I don't know. But in general, what you're going to see from Bill Belichick, like I think Bill Cowher's remembered now more fondly than when he coached because he's on NFL Today. People just like him. He's just sort of, look at that jaw, whatever.
Right.
Like you don't remember that he sucked and lost a lot of games that his team was favored into the Patriots. Bill Belichick is going to see his stock rise without coaching a game, and the Patriot fan that's watching their team will be even more angry at Robert Kraft because they'll be seeing Bill without a loss, perfect, in the booth, as opposed to what they remembered last season.
And the other reason why I believe he comes back, Courtney, is because just like Bill Cowher and all these other coaches who get into the TV element, and I think he's going to be more of the X's and O's, not really criticizing people. Like, that's not what he's going to do. It's going to be X's and O's, where teams lost, breaking down coverages, like all that kind of stuff that we've seen Bill do. The reason, if you look at all those other coaches, what happens every single year, whether it's Bill Cowher, whether it was Rex Ryan, some of these coaches that are on TV, every year there's always a handful of organizations trying to sway these guys to come out of retirement and out of the
TV
analyst
booth.
TV booth world
Right.
to come coach. Bill Cowher they've been beating down his door for so long, whether it was the Carolina Panthers at one point, Rex Ryan, the same thing. So what you're going to get from Bill when Bill's talking X's and O's,
why don't they do it?
They will after this year. Like when Bill goes,
But why isn't Bill Cowher doing it?
Because
if they're beating down his door, why isn't he going?
Because he chose that he had liked his life,
right,
and that's what I'm saying is that happens.
Right.
Yeah.
But I also don't think if you gave Bill Cowher Bill Belichick's resume and you compared apples to apples, I don't think he stays in the booth.
Right.
In other words, if Bill Cowher were 13, what is it? How many wins away is Bill? 13, something like that,
yes,
from Shula? If he was 13 wins away from being the all-time winningest coach in the history of the sport, my guess is Cowher accepts one of those phone calls.
And the difference between Bill Cowher and Rex Ryan and those other guys, they're content with not coaching, right? They were like coaching, but they weren't like
well, none of us really know if Bill's content
no, but they
or
weren't
not.
the lifers. When it came to they weren't the lifers of coaches. When you saw those guys, you were like, oh, they like coaching, but they ain't like. That's what Bill does. Like Bill Belichick will go now. Where was he? Down at Alabama? I thought I saw him and Matt Patricia down at Alabama talking to, so Bill.
Matt Patricia loves Waffle House.
That's what Bill will still do. So Bill, that's what he loves, where I don't know if Bill Cowher or Frex Ryan or some of these other guys have that same type of passion when it comes to coaching like Bill does, so they got no problem with staying in the TV booths. Where I think what's going to happen with Bill, as soon as he's going, hey, I would have done this differently if I was coaching, the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens in a game, then you're going to get an owner from, whether it's Dallas, Philly, Buffalo, one of those teams going, hey, we need to get on the phone and see if we can get Bill to come back coaching when the season's over, because we know what's in his brain when it comes to football and coaching. So that's why I think he's going to get a lot of calls
let's
after the
say
season.
right now, if you were to predict, do you think it will take a full season, or do you think halfway through the season Bill will get a call and Bill will be the head coach?
No, full season.
Full season?
You don't see coaches really coming in the middle of the season.
Well, sometimes you do.
Right. I would say.
Who was Boomer's best friend in the beginning of last season?
Frank Reich. Right, but he was on the staff. He wasn't hired outside.
No. Well, I mean, whether on the side, I think Bill Belichick, you can.
You've never seen a coach mid-season who was sitting on the sidelines just come in and
Okay, so you're both saying after the season.
Yeah, after the season.
Jackson, what's your prediction?
I do think he'll come back. And didn't Jeff Saturday slide in the middle of the season?
That's right.
Jeff Saturday. I think he came in week 10.
Shout out to intern Tom with the info.
So do you think it'll take a full season, or do you think?
I think it'll take a full season, but I think he's back at it hard, because I really does. I think the Shula thing's big in his mind, but I think trying to be successful without Tom Brady, post Tom Brady, is on his mind as well.
Right.
That's a good point.
I would say there's never been someone who was brought in mid-season who was hired for more than the mid-season. So maybe an interim coach wins the job, but never has it been a guy that hasn't been coaching anybody on that team for the long term to bring in as a replacement. I'm curious, do you want, that's the poll, I just did a poll, mid-show, mid-segment, wild stuff here, we're all over the place. Do you want Bill Belichick to come back and coach another team, or do you want him to have just a Patriot for the last, obviously was with Cleveland, but what we saw in 2023 was the last year coaching?
I feel like he's like Brady. When he's in the league is just more entertaining, and it's just, it's just adds another storyline. And then the other thing why I think he comes back is, do you think he wants to end his career on 4-2 and how it kind of fell apart?
4-13.
Oh, 4-13,
right.
And how it fell apart, and then the dynasty. I think he's similar to Brady, where he doesn't want to end his career like that. Not that he's going to win another Super Bowl, but I think he wants to say, all right, I'm going to give it one more go at it and see if I can get another one. Obviously, if I can get Shula's record and go out on my terms, because it seems like he didn't go out on his terms based off of what we all know now, where he was like, hey, I still wanted to coach. And guess what? I'm willing to give up some power to still be coaching. Remember, he told us that. He's like, I got no problem with that.
Yeah, I want him to coach. I want to see him. I don't think he'll be successful, and it'll be great. I'll have another team to root against, but I am...
You don't think if he goes to Dallas or Buffalo or Philly, he won't be successful?
Dallas or Buffalo or Philly. Successful as in winning a championship? No. So much of what he did was predicated upon a person, i.e. Tom, spreading his messaging for today's player. If you want me to say, in 2007 or 5, if he was hired and Dungy was fired by the Colts, he would have won a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. When it's just the players are just so different now.
Yeah, but you don't think a guy like Josh Allen would buy into the message that Bill's trying to spread, and Josh could then spread that message into that locker room?
When has Bill showed you that he'd want to coach a team with a $40 million quarterback?
Well, he's never had that opportunity because...
So he had no say in the and who they were paying?
No, but your quarterback didn't want $40 million.
Okay, right. I'm saying in the post-Tom era, his answer was Cam Newton.
Right.
And then he was either agreed to or forced Mac Jones.
Right.
At no point has he ever been someone who appeared desirous of spending at the top of the market at the quarterback or really any position outside of the defensive side of the ball.
Well, see, I kind of disagree because there was a part of me that believed he would have went after Lamar Jackson.
Well, yeah, that was at 32. Oh, you mean as a free agent?
When Lamar, remember that whole Lamar
But
time?
don't you want to have this so that we can see it? Like, I want to see him run a team so that we can see what was Robert, what was Bill. We can have him. We'll be able to see with a blank slate how he decides to build it.
All right, let me ask a different question to the room then. Do you believe a team like Buffalo, and I bring these teams up because they're good teams, and I think it's really about, do they feel like they have the right coaches in place? Do you team like a Buffalo, Philly, or Dallas? Those are the ones that we always talk about.
What about the Giants? That's always the
See,
one.
but then I get into the quarterback situation there. But you throw a team in. But do you feel like those teams would come after Bill if they didn't if they got one and done, or they were out of the playoffs early?
I think Bill being on TV will further incentivize these organizations to do something they may not have done before because the fan base will be demanding it. We all see Bill's flaws. I may be blinded by them. But in the national conversation of the NFL, the Dallas market, if Mike McCarthy is 2-5 to start the year, is going to not just say, I want him gone. We need to be the first in line to sign Belichick long term.
And you think Belichick would want to be with Jerry Jones?
I think he views that as a double win. He'll get paid, and the Krafts despise them. So he'll be able to work for a team that is the anti-Kraft. And then in Dallas, I mean, I think he's pretty no state income tax. I think that would be very pro Bill Belichick. I don't know.
And I could see teams like Washington not want to go after him because, you're not going to be good.
Yeah, I just think that there's such a boys club when it comes to ownership, and I'm guessing that if Kraft talked to the Falcons, he's probably talked to other franchises, or there's word out about what Bill might be like behind the scenes as your head coach, and it's going to take a really strong owner to want to bring Bill Belichick in, because even if Bill says he doesn't care about having the power over everything, I think he's just saying that.
Go ahead.
No, I just think that he wants that power still. It's Bill Belichick. He knows he's Bill Belichick. He knows that he is the greatest coach of all time. Him going into a franchise, an owner's going to have to really take a back seat to him.
And I think his opportunities will be dependent upon how flexible he is with his staff. Because if I'm Jerry Jones and I'm offering you $30 million over 4 years, that'll take you to almost 80. You're not getting to pick Matt Patricia as your offensive coordinator.
No, but he's going after Josh. And I think
well, Josh has a crappy reputation across the NFL.
Right, but Jerry Jones will go, because Josh is a good offensive coordinator. Right? We can agree that Josh is a pretty good offensive coordinator, and I think Jerry would go, okay, I'm cool with that. And also I look at –
What about his son Steven in the roster? How would Bill handle that?
I think Steven is probably good in Washington with Jed Fish. I think Steven is now flying on his own.
No. Yeah. Steven Jones, the son of Jerry Jones. No, sorry, that's in charge of the roster with Jerry.
I think that Bill would be willing, and I think that he was true and honest about it, to be willing to sit down and say, hey, listen, I can be collaborative with you guys, and I don't think Bill has an issue with that. And the other thing, I think, when you ask the question, Courtney, I think owners that know they have a realistic chance of winning might look at Bill and say he could be the reason why we win.
He's our best shot.
Yeah, you might not get like a Washington Commanders or Carolina or some of those other teams that were available. But if you get a team like Dallas that might be like where the coach could turn this thing, or like I say, Philly, New York that could be a wild card, because then I think it's really, how does Bill feel about the quarterback there?
Well, we have a poll up at the Greg Hill Show on Twitter. Do you want Belichick to return to coaching? Only 57% say yes. That seems low to me. I figured more people would want to see him.